Hi guys, in this video I'll show you how I put together my own eyeshadow palette using indie brand Sydney Grace's single eyeshadows. I'll show you what I put together and how you might do it yourself. And if you're interested in that, keep watching. If you're new here, hi, I'm Cindy. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and also hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. So I first found out about Sydney Grace last year when I, as a YouTube addict, found out about this palette called the Enduring Love Palette. It's really a beautiful, cool palette. YouTubers were raving about this palette in terms of its colors, its mattes, its shimmers, its blendability. Everything about this palette people were just falling in love with. So I ordered it and I found indeed this was an amazing palette. I was using it all the time, but in glancing at their site, I noticed that they have so many single eyeshadows. Again, the mattes, the shimmers, the metallics. There was so much to choose from. I counted them up and there are 96 mattes, 120 pressed pigments, and something like 22 shimmers. That's just an approximation. So I went looking for some green, army green, khaki colors. I have a lot of clothes in that color family. And I looked around at palettes and I didn't really find anything I totally loved. So I thought I would dip into creating my own palette. That's when the fun started, because looking on their website and exploring all the colors, but it was still a little overwhelming because there are so many different options to choose from. What I did was I looked at other people's YouTube videos and I looked at the Sydney Grace swatches and I ordered, if you take a look, at these green options over here. Now, I did this right after Black Friday, so this goes back a bit, and I actually ordered more than these four. I ordered this one also, which is clearly more of a neutral, but it was a little monochromatic. So I sent a few of them back. It's very easy to return colors at Sydney Grace. Initially, my plan was to fill up a 9-pan palette, and you can buy these palettes on their site. I believe this one was $5.50, but I got a little bit ambitious, and I went back on their site, and I ordered enough to fill up a 12-pan palette. And what I'm going to do is swatch these for you now. And as you can see, I got cool greens, army greens, khaki greens. I got more neutral mattes in the brown family. And I got some shimmers. I just removed my glasses so you can see my shadow better. First, I'm going to show you the pressed pigments. All the metallics are pressed pigments. Sydney Grace's pressed pigments are a little bit more intense than the shimmers, but they're still not disco ball intense. They're really quite lovely. Let me show you the ones that I got. The first one that I'm going to swatch for you is Bronze to Perfection. By the way, they're all labeled in the back. You can't really read it from here, but it says Sydney Grace Bronze to Perfection. It tells you the weight, which is 1.8 grams. They're all the same. But since you can't read it, the name will be on the screen. Bronze to Perfection is the most metallic shade that I have in my palette. It is the most perfect bronze shade and is the warmest. Here it is. Just beautiful. I'm wearing it today on the outer corner of my eye, like right there. Gorgeous. The next color that I'm going to swatch for you is called Morning Star. It's much more subtle. So here it is swatched. And you could see the two together. They're not far off, but if you're looking for a more if you're looking for a more subtle shade, then Morning Star would be a good choice for you. Now, for a couple of cooler shades, we have a color called Peace. You see, this is a much more taupey shade, and my intention with this was that it would blend nicely with the cooler khaki army greens. Here it is swatched. Here it is on my finger. And here it is on my arm. And by the way, Peace is one of their most popular shades. And finally, we have a shade called The Greatest Gift. You can see where this is almost a duochrome, because if you hold it in one direction, it looks almost pink. And then if you hold it in another direction, it looks almost green. So this is another one that looks beautiful with the green shades. Here it is swatched. This one is stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit because I mostly go for the bronzy shades, but this is a beautiful shade. So once again, Bronze to Perfection, Morning Star, Peace, and The Greatest Gift. Now I'm going to show you the cool army green mattes, starting with the darkest shade, which is Alpha. They describe this one as a brown green matte. Here on my finger and on my arm. So this is a really beautiful color. The next one is Bravo, which is a little bit lighter. The finger swatch. They are pretty close. So if you only wanted to go with one color, you could just choose one of these two. A little bit closer. But you can see this is cooler and darker. Next we have a color called Ivy League, also a cool army green, which is considered a light color. By the way, if you want to do like an all matte eye look, you could certainly just use these three. So that's just a beautiful olivey, khaki, army green, which just looks lovely on the eye. And finally, we have a color called Pismo, which is a very cool, neutrally light khaki brown. These were the original colors that I bought. This, by the way, I often use as the transition shade right here. That's not what I'm using today because I went with a more brown neutral look. You know, it's very interesting. When I use these shades, they look very green on my arm, but when I'm wearing them, they often come off as gray because they are very cool. These are very lovely creamy mattes and can be used standalone. You can use them without using any shimmers. If I do use shimmers, the favorite shimmers that I use with these would be either Peace, this is Peace, and this is The Greatest Gift. Now for the neutral warm mattes, which is what I'm wearing today. I love neutral warm mattes, and this is my wheelhouse. This is what I wear almost all the time. Kind of boring. I'm not into a lot of color. The first one is called Dark Chocolate. Now, interestingly enough, this is described as a cool color on their website, but I don't see it. I see this as being a warm color. I'm going to swatch that for you. The next one is definitely warm. This is Peanut Butter. This is a warm brown, as you can see. By the way, these are the colors I'm wearing today. And I'll tell you how I'm wearing them in just a second. This next one is called Ice Mocha. This is a perfect transition color. Whoops, I think I need to get you a better swatch going there. Okay, here you go. So these three colors is basically all I am wearing. You like how I'm making another line here with my finger? Yeah, got to clean that up. And the final color is Drift. I don't usually wear all these colors. I usually stick to 3 colors. It's more of a cream color. I use this color under my brow, not all the time, but sometimes, and in the inner corner of my eye. And that's it. Now, let me tell you what I used today and how I used it. I used Ice Mocha as my transition shade. I used Peanut Butter as my V color. I used a little bit of the Dark Chocolate to deepen the V, and I used the Dark Chocolate to line my eyes. And here are all the shadows back in the palette, looking beautiful together. All of these colors will be listed down in the description box, so if you want to check them out yourself on the website, the link to their website will also be in the description box, as well as some other YouTubers' videos about other palettes that they put together from Sydney Grace's singles. Just another word or two about Sydney Grace as a company that makes me feel really good about purchasing from them. First of all, as I said, they are an indie company. They're women-owned. The shadows are made in the USA. They're cruelty-free. Most of the shadows are vegan. They are made in small batches. It's a company that sells not only shadows, but they also sell blushes and highlighters, cream shadows, duochromes, all other kinds of products, but I think they're best known for their eyeshadows. They also sell palettes, like the one I showed you, Enduring Love. I ended up getting this palette called Summer Days, which is another really neutral palette. Did I need another neutral palette? Maybe not, but I did really love it, and I'm not sorry that I bought it. I want to talk about the cost of the singles and how that compares to other brands. This is not a drugstore brand. They compare favorably to high-end eyeshadows, not luxury, but high-end. Normally, the eyeshadows run different prices. The mattes are $5 each, and the shimmers are $6 each. I got all of these at a time when they were 25% off. I got some at the Black Friday sale, and I got some at the end of January when they were running a 3-day sale. So they were all 25% off. But normally putting this palette together would be $64. That doesn't include the price of the palette itself, the cardboard packaging, which I believe is $10 or $12. It's out of stock now, so I couldn't really check. But when I got it, the palette was $48. They always run a sale in July called their Christmas in July sale. I believe they do it at different times during the year, so you want to check their Instagram account. If we're looking at price per gram, that comes out to be $2.96 per gram without a discount, and $2.20 per gram if you're going with the 25% discount. By the way, I do have a discount code for you in the description box for 15% off. It's not my code, it's Mel Thompson's code, but feel free to use it. I certainly have. Let's compare that with Natasha Denona's Glam palette, which is probably comparable in quality. There's 15 shades in there. It's 19.5 grams, and it runs for $65, and that is $3.33 a gram. If you go to Pat McGrath, and we know she's notoriously expensive, if you look at any of her 10 shade palettes, they're 13.2 grams, $129, $9.77 per gram. So you could see that the Sydney Grace are less expensive, but they're not inconsequential. This I bought for $33. And here it is again, a really beautiful neutral palette. They don't repeat these colors in their single shadows. So you have some options. You can create your own palette, which I have done a good job of messing up. Or you can buy one of the Sydney Grace palettes, or you can buy the really big Sydney Grace palette, which I believe is $52. I totally love the Sydney Grace formula. The mattes are creamy, extremely blendable, beautiful. They stay on all day. They're easy to remove. And I particularly love the pressed pigments, the shimmers. They are just beautiful without being over the top. Those are the pros. I think they're comparable to high-end eyeshadows that I've seen. That is the upside. Also, the company is really easy to deal with. When I bought too many of the same kind of monochromatic greens, I was able to return them. Customer service is amazing. They're very easy to deal with. The downside is, as we discussed, they're not cheap. Expect to pay more than drugstore prices for these eyeshadows, but they're quality, and I think they're worth it. The other thing that's a little hard with Sydney Grace is that there are so many choices, and it's really hard to choose. But take a look at some of the other videos that I have down in the description box to help you create other palettes other than the one that I've created for you. And look at their Instagram accounts, because they do have swatches that they put together and different color combinations that you might be interested in. So that will help you put together a palette. And you don't have to be so ambitious when you're starting out. Do put together a 3 or 4 pan palette. That's fine. Or you can always go with an existing palette. The thing I liked about Summer Days is that it's very neutral, but do be careful, because a lot of the palettes that they put together are not permanent. They do rotate their palettes, and something that you have your eye on may not be there in 6 months or a year. And also look out for their sales, because it's worth keeping a running list of colors that you might be interested in and jumping on a sale when it's available. If you follow Sydney Grace on Instagram, then you'll be alerted to their sales. So what do you think? Are you going to try to put together your own palette? Have you tried to do that? Have you been successful? Are there any colors that I have put together that you are particularly interested in? Do you like the look that I put together today? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Please take the time to like my video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.